Hi, are you trying to create color-coded calendars on Modern SharePoint and can't figure it out? Well, this is what this video is for, just to walk you through step by step on how to create a calendar like what you see here. So as you may know, SharePoint Online or Modern SharePoint doesn't have the capability to do categorized color-coded calendars out of box, at least not in the modern view. So the way you have to do it is going in to create a classic calendar with overlays. So instead of going to create a new list, what we want to do is create a new app. All right, so once you click that, you want to go ahead and click Classic Experience here, because we're not going to be doing the modern experience. So after you get to the classic experience templates, scroll down and choose the calendar list template, or as it's displayed here, an app. So you can name it calendar and click create. All right, so here's your calendar. You can go ahead and click on it. And as you can see here, it looks like the old calendars that we used to have on SharePoint Server, 2013, 2016. This is how it looked like, and here's the ribbon. And you see here are the calendar overlays. But we're not going to add any overlays yet, because what we need to do is go into the list settings and create some views. All right, so once you get in here, you'll see that there is already a category column, so you don't need to add a new column for that, but you do want to click into it, and we're going to update the drop downs to whatever categories that you want. So I'm just going to write meeting, holiday, conference, and other. Again, you can customize these to whatever categories you want. So here you want to go ahead and require that this column contain information, because if you don't, then you may have some events that don't follow the views and the categories that we set up. So allow fill-in choices, you also want to set that to no, because again, that might mess up the calendar. All right, so go ahead and click OK. And so we have the category field set up, and now we want to go ahead and create a new view. Okay, so go ahead and click Create View, and we're going to base it on an existing view of calendar. And go ahead and type in the name of this view, which should be one of the categories that you wrote on the drop-down. The meetings one can be set to default, so we're going to go ahead and write holidays. All right, so scroll down. All of this can be left at default, except when you get to the filters. That's what we need to modify here. So what we want to filter is we want to show items only when the following is true. So make sure to click that check or that radio box, and we're going to filter by category. So go ahead and click category and set it to equal to holiday or whatever you wrote in your drop down. And then click OK. All right, so we have the first view created. Now we want to go ahead and create a new view. And this time we can base it off of the last one that we had, which was holidays, but we name it conferences. Same thing, change the filter and say equal to conference. And click OK. All right, so now go back and create a new view again. This time choose either, it doesn't matter, holiday, conference, and then we're going to write other. And same thing with the filter. Change the filter to choose other and click OK. All right, so now we have the views created. You can go back to the main calendar and go to the ribbon. And now we're going to go create the overlays. Okay, so click New Calendar. And then you can name the calendar. So we don't need to do meetings because that will be the default. We can go ahead and choose holidays. And you can pick any color you like here. And then you have to click Resolve so that it can pull the lists and views up. So the list obviously was going to be calendar. And then you want to choose the holidays view. And make sure you check Always Show and click OK. Now we're going to click on New Calendar again and create another calendar overlay. This one will be for conferences or whatever you have written in your drop-down. Make sure you choose a different color here and click Resolve, choose the calendar list, and then choose the conferences view. Make sure you choose Always Show and then click OK. Finally, we're going to add the other calendar overlay for others. So go ahead and enter other or others. Choose a different color again. Click Resolve. Make sure the list is calendar and then choose the other view. Again, click Always Show and click OK. All right, so we have 3 different calendar overlays. Go ahead and click on Calendar. And here you can see you have the default calendar view, which we are going to set it up to show meetings. Currently is not set up yet. But I do notice that I accidentally have 2 of the same colors. So we're going to modify the holidays to choose a different color. So go ahead and go back in and just change the color to a different color and click OK. Click back in your calendar and now you can see they're all 4 different colors. All right, so we have the 4 different overlays. The calendar one is going to be the meetings overlay. But for now, let's go and add some demo content in here. So the first one is going to be a meeting type or meeting category. We can go ahead and just fill in the information. Put the start and end date. Make sure you set the category and click OK. All right, we're going to add another one. You know, I'm going to actually add it on President's Day so I can do a holiday. President's Day was observed earlier this week from when I'm recording. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to holiday and an all day. All right. And if you do notice that it's showing up twice, that is because we haven't configured the default view yet. We will go back and fix that. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and continue to add more demo meetings just so we have it populated. So I'm going to go ahead and do a conference now. Conference will be like all day, so maybe 8 to 4. Make sure you set the category. And click OK. All right, so now I'm going to add one more. This one will say it's an other category, some paid time off, scheduled. Make sure you set the category and click OK. As you can see again, it is doubled. And that is because the current default calendar is showing everything. This one does not have it twice, and that is because it was set to meetings, and we only have the default view showing meetings right now. So that one is not doubled. All right, so what we want to do is we want to correct that. So what we're going to go into is the calendar view, and we want to modify it. So go ahead and click Modify View and scroll down from the calendar view. And here you want to filter it to say category is equal to meetings. And that was the first option in our dropdown. Or meeting, not meetings. And then that should take away the duplicate entries. So now the calendar view is showing all the meetings, and all the other views are showing only their specific ones as well. Now, if you don't like the idea of it saying calendar and you actually want it to say, you know, whatever your first option was, then what we can do is just create a new view. And you can base it off of any of the other filtered views that we created. And then go ahead and type in whatever it is that is your default. For me, it was meetings. And you'll see it's already filtered. Category is equal to, make sure it says meetings or meeting, and then click OK. So go back to the main calendar, and now we're going to add a calendar overlay for the meetings. So go ahead and click on New Calendar and type in meeting or meetings. Make sure you choose a different color. And then go ahead and click Resolve. And then choose the list if it's not already selected, and then choose the new view you created. Again, make sure Always Show is selected and click OK. Now you'll see it has all four, but we still have the default. So you will have duplicate entries this time for meetings. So what we need to do now that we created a meetings view, let's go back and change the default to show nothing. So what we should change it to, the category is equal to, and then we can say null, which means basically empty. Now there shouldn't be any with null because we did set the category field as required, but when we do that, that at least hides that the meetings from that view. So now it's not duplicated. Now you're going to see that there are 5 calendar overlays, but the first one is empty. And the only reason why we did that is in case you didn't want it to say calendar and you wanted the key over there on the side to actually show meetings. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more here just to populate the calendar so it looks more used. And then after this, we will go through adding it to a page. Because as you may know, you cannot add calendar classic web parts to a modern page, not easily at least. So let's go ahead and fill this in. Just want to add more events here. All right. So it looks pretty populated. I might add just one more here. This one will be a recurring meeting. And we'll set it from 10 to 11. We'll set the recurrence to, actually let me change this to weekly, every week on Monday. And click OK. All right, there you go. So we have the recurring meeting on there, and it looks pretty populated. So now what we're going to go do is we're going to add it to the home page. So go ahead and click on Home. All right, so this is just a basic page. It doesn't really have any information on it. This is all just default. But as you'll see, if you click to add a new web part and you choose lists, you don't see any lists here. And that's because that calendar list we created was a classic calendar list. And you can't add it directly to the page. So what we have to do is we actually have to scroll down and look for the embed web part. And then we're going to put some code in there. And if you don't know how to code, it's fine. Really, you can just copy and paste from the description. I'm going to paste it in there and modify it from there. And I'll show you what to modify. So here's the code here. Basically, we're embedding an iframe. And the part where it says URL to Calendar.aspx, we're going to replace that with the URL from the address bar of the calendar. So what you want to do is click the gear at the top right and choose to go or choose to open site contents in a new tab. All right, so from site contents, click on your calendar and then just copy the URL at the top of the page. And once you have that copied, open up your notepad where you have the copy and paste of the code and replace the first section. Make sure you still have the question mark isDlg equals 1 in there. And then you want to copy that whole thing and paste it in this embed box on the right. And once you click out of it, you'll see it'll automatically show you what it's embedding. And so it looks a little bit too long, like the height is too long. So you can adjust it. And this really depends on your page and how you have it laid out. But here I'm going to change 130 to 80. And I think that looks good. We might be able to make it a little smaller. Let's check 70. Yeah, I don't like the scroll bar. So 70 pops up the scroll bar. So we want to take that out. Maybe we'll try 78. Nope, scroll bar's still there. So I'm just going to put it back to 80. I think that fit best. But you can always play around with these numbers, you know, to make it fit the best way that you'd like. Once you're done, click Republish. And there you go. There's your embedded calendar web part. Oh, all right. So when you add a new item, it's kind of cut off at the top, which I don't think looks so great. So let's go ahead and change the height again. So you could change the height, or you can change the top margin. For me, I don't want anything from the top of the page to show in here, so I'm gonna just increase the height to 100. All right, let's try to add a new thing, a new event. There you go. I like how this looks. So it might be a little bit cut off at the top, so if you wanted to increase it yourself, you could. But for me, you can see the entire ribbon there. You can see all the fields. So for me, that works great. And I'm going to keep it at 100. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and edit the page again. So I'm just going to add a text web part just to display that you can add a calendar key here so that people know what colors mean what. So you might have to have some images, like maybe just or pull up the colors and just to write, you know, what the key is. For me right now, I'm not going to actually go through all that because I don't have the images available, but that's something you could do. All right, so that's about it. That's how you create your classic calendar with calendar overlays to create the color-coded categories on your calendar. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to respond as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.